Sarah was a night owl. She liked the quiet, the stillness of her apartment after midnight. But lately, the quiet had changed. There was something off about it. It started small, a faint sound she could barely hear over the hum of the refrigerator. A whisper. She brushed it off at first, assuming it was just her mind playing tricks after long days. But the whisper came back. Every night, exactly at 12:15. Faint, but there. Always coming from the bathroom. She tried to ignore it, to convince herself it was just old plumbing, or maybe the neighbors. But last night, something changed. The whisper wasn't just a sound anymore. It was clear, and it was calling her name. She told herself it was a trick of the mind. That's what she did, rationalized. But tonight was different. She felt the pull, felt that eerie urge to go to the mirror, to stand in front of it. It was 12:14, 1 minute until it would start again. Sarah's hand shook as she turned the bathroom light on. The dim bulb flickered slightly, casting shadows that danced across the white tiles. She stepped closer to the mirror, heart pounding in her chest. Her reflection stared back at her, pale and tired, eyes rimmed with exhaustion. She waited. Her eyes darted to the clock on her phone. 12:15. And then, there it was, a whisper. Sarah froze, eyes locked on the mirror. The voice was unmistakable this time. It was real. She could feel it, like a presence creeping through the room, wrapping around her. Her breath hitched, and her pulse quickened. Against every instinct screaming for her to run, she leaned in closer to the mirror. Her hand hovered over the glass, trembling. She didn't know what she expected, but she needed to know what was behind that voice. Her fingers touched the surface. Cold, smooth. But then, her reflection blinked. Sarah's own eyes hadn't blinked, but her reflection had. She gasped, yanking her hand away from the mirror, stumbling back. The reflection stared back at her, unblinking now with that same tired face. But something was wrong. Something wasn't right about it. She moved slightly, but the reflection didn't follow. It stayed still, eyes locked on hers. And then, slowly, too slowly, it began to smile. Her blood ran cold. This wasn't her. The reflection tilted its head, that eerie, knowing smile growing wider. Sarah took another step back, her chest tightening as panic set in. This wasn't happening. She had to be dreaming. She turned toward the door, desperate to get away. But the door, it was closed. She hadn't touched it. Her hand reached for the knob, but it wouldn't budge, as if something was holding it from the other side. She spun back to the mirror and her heart dropped. Her reflection was gone. The mirror was empty. No trace of her at all. Just an empty, dark bathroom staring back at her. She swallowed hard, backing up against the door, eyes darting around the room.